Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. It's Monday. I'm feeling it. Hope you all had a good weekend. I'm still waking up. What day is it? It's day 5 of the Daily Creative Challenge. It is also definitely Monday. Hope you're all doing well. We've got Anne and Adobe Live, got the amazing Gus Spot in the house. We also have the amazing Paco in the house over here. I'm streaming live from San Francisco this week. We have an amazing UI and UX week coming up. I will not be hosting, but we have some great hosts, great guests. You'll definitely want to check that out. But a big hello to Agnes and Anne and Eric and Servit and Igor and Orla and everyone else who's joining us live on Behance. If you are on YouTube, switch over to Behance. Come say hello and let us know where you are, who you are, where you're tuning in from, and all that good stuff. So day 5 of the Daily Creative Challenge is upon us, and I'm excited because this is a fun one. We're doing something a little bit different with this one. Usually we do either a website or a mobile app. Today we're going on the watch. Yeah, a little bit different. And we're also going to take a look at some of your challenges from Friday, which was to create a paint or color by number mobile app, which was really fun. There's some interesting entries, but I also noticed that a lot of people were kind of catching up from the first few days, which is great. We saw a lot of really cool entries for challenge 1, 2, and 3, which was fun. So let me hop over to my screen to explain what the deal is. This is the Behance landing page, behance.net/daily creative challenge. And Chris Cannon, one of our mentors, is in the house. If you are joining us on Slack, which I'll get to in a second, Chris and Peter, that's his name, Chris and Peter, are in there all the time giving feedback. It's definitely a Monday. So this is the landing page. If you haven't yet, hit that big blue register button at the top so you're notified when new challenges are available. Hopefully this morning you did get your notification. And every day you will receive a new challenge. Every day at 8:30 a.m. I will be here kicking off that challenge. And your task is to design and prototype whatever that might be using Adobe XD and making sure to use the keyword XD Daily Challenge so we can see it. The Slack invite is not working. We did have some issues with that on Friday. I'm not sure if it got fixed yet, but if you try to clear your cache and try it again, otherwise we will look into it. And then you have until February 1st to complete all 9 challenges. But again, these are kind of just for you to build up your skills, build up your portfolio, explore new things. So if you don't get everything in by February 1st, don't worry about it. You can always submit it whenever you want. It's really for you to grow as a designer. So down here, you can grab XD completely for free. Orla says I look tired. I am tired. I drove up to San Francisco yesterday and I'm here at 8:30 in the morning, but I love it. I love it. It's fun. I love my job. And over here, if the Slack link works, you can join Slack. Otherwise, we're gonna get that fixed as soon as possible. But Slack over here is awesome. We almost have 12,500 people in our Slack channel from all over the world. So there's an introduction section, there's the announcement section where you can see every day the new challenge. You can ask questions, you can chat, you can get feedback. And again, Chris Cannon and Peter Del Tondo are in there all the time giving feedback. They don't sleep, we pay them not to sleep. They're just there giving feedback. I'm just kidding, they sleep. And then back on Behance, we have our challenges. And you can go back to day number 1, grab the templates, and just go all the way to day number 5, which is today. And again, the challenge today is to send cash with a smart watch application. So, you know, most smart watches these days, I believe, are the Apple Watch, but you can also design for Android Wear or Samsung Gear, whatever it is that you like, and grab the template and get started. So before we jump into Adobe XD, let's take a look at some entries from Friday, which again was the color by number. And there's the Slack URL. Again, we might be having some issues with the link. It works? Yeah, DJ Paco confirms. It works, so go there. Join Slack, have a good time. Thank you, Paco. So here on the Behance search page, XD Daily Challenge, you can search that and you'll be able to see all the amazing entries that have come in over the last week or so. And there's hundreds and hundreds you can look through. But I want to highlight a few of them. There were a lot of really good ones. I couldn't get to all of them. But this one is from Daniel, and he created this little PixArt color by number mobile app. Really nice artwork. Bunch of screens down here. He used some drag effects to, pick colors. And let's go over some of the screens. He also used that design camera application that's going around that I touched on a little bit. Someone else is saying the invite link is no longer active. Try that link that we posted a few minutes ago. That one might be updated, but the one on the landing page, you have to clear your cache, and then it'll do its thing. So this one is from Daniel. Really nice implementation. If you missed it, because I was talking, he used a drag effect to pick colors and then add them to the bottom, which I thought was really cool. And then he went through the process of coloring in this really cool looking, what is it? Lion, dog, wolf? I don't know. It's a thing. It's cool. Good job, Daniel. This one is from Jaren, who I believe we featured before. And he kind of did this cute little pixel art, drag and drop colors. Let me go back to the beginning. So the colors come up at varying speeds, which I thought was kind of cool. And then he used transform. He animated that to enlarge it. Also, neat little touch. And then he's got some cool screens. I love this loading screen. Looks really nice. Next one, we have Thomas, who did this Draw It Color app. Again, really nice elements. Went in a little bit of a different direction. I'm gonna speed through this because we have a lot to get through today in the challenge. Jimmy says definitely a wolf. It might be a wolf. It probably is. It's not a duck, so I know that. And he used little fab at the bottom to kind of have this color wheel pop up and then color. Nice stuff. And Antoine, this one went in a really different direction. It's like a math-based one where you have to actually use your brain, and in order to pick a color, you have to answer a math question. Not for me, but I think it's kind of cool. It's a nice implementation. And then finally, Zainab created this. I thought the illustrations on this were just super cool. Look at this. This one looked really nice. I thought that was neat. And there's a little video at the top showing the process. Cute little loading screen. And hey, Jason, good morning. And you're not late. We're just going over some of the entries from Friday. So this entry, instead of a color by number, and there is colors at some point, but it's more of a sketch by number. Sort of a connect the dots. I thought that was cool. All right, so without further ado, let's hop into Adobe XD and we're gonna get designing. So again, here's the template, and our challenge today is to design and prototype a smartwatch app for sending cash. So whether you're sending it to friends or you're using Apple Pay at a store, whatever it might be, go crazy with it, have fun. And this template, again, was created by the amazing Marissa Blair, who's sometimes in the chat. If she is, say hello, say thank you. And she provided a bunch of elements. So some colors down here that you can use for watch interfaces, some UI elements, some icons, safe guide, which is always very important because you don't want to get too close to the edges because some of that stuff is inactive, so you won't be able to actually tap on some of that stuff. And then a user flow, and in this case, this is using Apple Pay to pay for something at a store or wherever it might be. Now, one thing I loved showing off before we actually get designing is the assets panel. So what you can do is down here we have a bunch of colors, and let's say I really like the look of this color scheme down here. So I'm gonna grab all of these, I'm gonna make a selection around them all, hop into my assets panel down here, and simply press the plus button beside colors, and that will add those colors directly to my assets panel. And what's nice is they're global edits. So at any point, let's say I use this color over here, and I use this color over here, then I decide, you know what, I'm not digging that yellow. I can always go back, right click, press edit, and then make changes. I can turn that into a nice hot pink, and it'll make changes not just on the active layer, but all the layers that had that color in it. So I think that's pretty cool. So, should we get designing? We should do this. Alrighty, so let me hop back into my layers, Command or Control Y, and I'm going to go over here, over here to our artboards, and this will be a passcode screen. And this one, I'm actually gonna get rid of this for now. This is going to be, we're gonna do sending cash to a friend for this example. So we'll start with passcode, and we have an example down here, but I wanna show you how you can use repeat grid to kind of get started with something like this. So I'm gonna grab my ellipse tool, draw out a circle like that, turn off the border, Make the fill somewhat dark, just like there. And then grab my text tool and just put the number 1. Pretty simple, right? Hope you're all following so far. I'm gonna grab both of these, Command or Control R to create a repeat grid. You can also use the repeat grid button over to the right. Drag this out to create 3 across, and I'll do 3 down, and we'll have to do that other one separately. So move this to the center, and then I can just go through and update the text individually. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then we need a 0. So I'm gonna actually, at this point, now that this repeat grid has been created, I know I'm not gonna be adding anything else. I'm gonna ungroup it and simply grab this one and drag it down like that. And you can notice we have these smart guides and smart padding that tells me that this is the proper distance from the ones above. 0. And I need to make it a little bit smaller, so I'm just gonna hold down Shift, make it a touch smaller, just like that. There we go. So we have a passcode screen. Simple. All right, so the next screen, what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose who we're going to send this, this payment to. So I'm gonna copy this, just paste it over here, and let's write, who are you paying? I'll center that text and pop it in the middle of my artboard. And again, those smart guides let me know where this is in my artboard, and if it snaps in place, it is in the center. I can also use these icons at the top to align it very quickly to the center just by pressing that. All right, so let's go ahead and create another repeat grid, this time for a bunch of names. So I'm gonna just draw one out like this. Let's go ahead and round out the corners a little bit. And what's cool about XD is you have these little tiny handles inside of rectangles, and you can just drag those in to round out the corners, very subtly. I'm also going to just sample that, turn that off, and we'll just put John's name for now. Pop that there. I'm not gonna get too fancy with text. There we go, that looks good. So now we can grab these just like we did in the previous artboard. I'm gonna Command and Control R, and let me delete this, and create a repeat grid down my artboard. And I'll change the padding so we can see that one is off the artboard, so that kind of gives a user indication that they can scroll. Perfect. So now at this point, I could go through and update each individual name, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna hop over to Finder, where I have this plain text document with a few names that I just threw together very quickly. And I'm gonna drag this into XD on top of any of the text layers, and boop, now we have a bunch of names. And I can go through, let me make sure this is left justified and move this over. And you're noticing as I'm making these layout changes, all the other cards are changing as well. So you can override text, but for layout changes, they keep everything in sync, which is really nice. Whoops, where did it go? There we go, perfect. So that's that artboard. Now we can choose exactly who we're gonna be paying for this app. And the next artboard, Command and Control D to duplicate it, we're gonna do how much are you paying? So obviously you have to choose an amount that you're gonna be paying. So this one is going to be choose an amount. Great. Now for this, we're actually going to create another repeat grid. A lot of repeat grids in this, this challenge. I love it. Repeat grids is definitely one of my favorite features in XD. And it's actually one of the earliest features. So another rounded rectangle. Same color. And for the text, this will be, let's say $1 for this one. Make sure to center it and place it in the middle using those smart guides. Great. All right. Command and Control R. And now we have 2 across. And we'll do, let's say, 3 down. That looks pretty good. Make the padding a little bit smaller. And you have to keep in mind that when you're designing for a watch, it's a small screen. Even though I can zoom in and it looks very large here, it's still a very small screen. So your buttons have to be large enough that just a finger can press it. So I'll make sure the padding is a little bit, there we go. Perfect. Now I can go in, let's say this one will be $5. This one will be 10, 15, 20, and 25. And then we might have a button at the bottom So at this point, I'm going to ungroup it. We might have a button at the bottom for other. This one will be a little bit smaller because it's not a primary button. Other, and I'll make the text smaller as well. Great. So now we have a screen where you can choose how much. So again, we have a passcode screen. We have who are you paying? And then we have choose an amount. And at this point, what we want to do, let me actually make sure this is spaced out properly. That was bothering me. Move this up a touch. There we go. Looks good. So hopefully by now you're starting to get some ideas as to which direction you're going to take this watch app. And of course, this is a very basic example. There's not much color going on, but when you actually start doing it, it should add some color, add some additional screens, get creative with it. And then finally, we're going to do one more artboard where we are going to choose what card we're going to use. So I'm going to name this Choose a Card. And for this one, I'm going to go back to Marissa's amazing templates, grab these guys, copy them, and just paste them over here so I can see them. Perfect. And then I'm going to move this one right about here, this one beside it, so we know that we can definitely scroll, and this one over here. And I may want to grab the secondary ones and just decrease the opacity a little bit so that this one is, we definitely know that this one is the visible one. And then below it, we'll put a button to actually initiate the payment. Move this over a touch. There we go. And then we'll put one large button right at the bottom. Round out those corners. And we'll do, let's say, a nice blue color. Great. And I could hop over to my assets panel, just press that blue or the yellow or the orange, whatever works for my app. I'll just stick with that blue. Place it in the center. And then this one will pay, let's say, $15 to John. There we go. Make it a little bit smaller and pop it right in the middle of my button, making sure to keep my groups and layers organized. So I'm going to select those two layers, Command and Control G to place everything in a group. And this will be Pay button. There we go. So now we can start actually wiring this thing up. And there are a few ways we can do it. We're going to do it very basic for today. So we're basically going to hop into prototype mode, and we'll just assume that the whole passcode has been popped in there. So whenever someone presses, let's say, any of the numbers, actually I'll go into design mode, make sure to group all of these. This will be passcode. So when someone presses any of the numbers in this prototype, it goes over here. It's going to be a tap. We don't have to worry too much about auto animate because at this point, there's nothing really to animate. So we'll do a simple transition. We will do, let's say, it'll push to the left, and we will have it ease out with, let's say, 0.4 seconds. So if we play that and tap, perfect. All right. Now at this point, we might want to see what this looks like when someone actually scrolls. So back in design mode, we can select this second artboard and actually drag it down until we can see all the names. And that blue handle to the left is our viewport handle. So anything above that handle is going to be visible immediately, and then anything below is going to be visible when you start scrolling. So press play, you can scroll, you can see the rest of the names, and you can scroll up. So let's say I might want to pay John. So what's cool is even though this is a repeat grid, so it's technically one object on the surface, I can still dial in and select just John's card and have that as a tap trigger. So I'm going to select that, drag it over to the right. This will be tap. Again, we don't need to do any auto animate for this one. Push left, ease out. It preserves all the settings from the previous artboard. I'll do that. And then this will be, let's say, $15. Again, same settings. But for this one, we might want to do a little bit of a drag effect. So I'm going to duplicate this downwards just so I can see everything. And maybe this one will be, let me hop into design mode, move this card over, Make sure this one is 100% opacity. This one's gonna decrease to 44% to match this one. And then we'll do one more down here. Drop this to 44. Move this over. There we go, and 100%. Perfect. So now to wire this up, we're gonna grab this group up here. You can grab individual cards or you can grab the entire group, whatever you want. And then you can drag this down to this artboard. Instead, this is gonna be a drag transition. You want a user to be able to kind of drag through these different credit cards. And auto animate is going to be the default. And we'll do the exact same thing on this one. Now, of course, if you wanted to go back to the previous one, then you would have to choose the individual cards. So let me show you how to do that. Let me quickly go back. So this would be, let's say, grab this guy over here, drag this down. This one would drag over here. I'll have to go back and make this 100% opacity. There we go. And then we would do, let's say, this one, drag back up here, and this one up here. And then we can do one final screen for our payment. And we do have a check mark over here. Woo! Grab this check mark. And maybe these ones could slide over. Or maybe, yeah, if we put them into a larger group, they would not go off the pasteboard. Or what we can do is wire it up first. So if I do this, let's say this will go over to this artboard. We'll do a tap. This will be auto animate because we'll have some animation and we'll snap it into place. And if I go like this, it will stay on that artboard. And this button might slide up here. And then we'll have a check mark. And we can get rid of John's name. Great. And maybe we'll round out the corners a little bit. Make sure it's square, 250 by 250, or circular, whatever, words are hard. That's a large circle. Perfect. All right, so let's wire this thing up. Press on this, it goes to there, great. All right, let's see how this looks. So, at this point, click on any of the numbers to enter the passcode. Who's paying? John slides over, we'll choose $15. And we can use the drag effect to move back and forth between these cards. Drag back this way, drag back this way, and pay $15 to John, and it's complete. Now we can probably update this to say, payment complete. There we go. So that will just about do it. We've created, in a few minutes, we've created a mobile app for your watch to send cash to whoever you like. You can either do it at a grocery store or you can do it to friends or whatever it might be. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what all of you produce and getting super creative because this is a very basic example, but some of you go super creative and I love seeing that stuff. And I'll be back tomorrow morning to showcase some of these amazing things that you put together and also kick off day 6 of the Daily Creative Challenge. And starting tomorrow, we also have UI and UX week coming up with a lot of cool guests, a lot of cool hosts. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. See you later.